Hey Josh.
Hello, how's it going?
Hey man, fun. Thanks man. Yeah, how's it going over there? Where you living?
I'm in Minnesota in the United States.
Oh, yeah. I think it's actually. I think it says so in the on your info. I just didn't look. Yeah, yeah. So how's the weather over there now? Is it summer coming or is it still cold?
It's actually starting to get a bit warmer here. It's nice springtime weather.
All right, man. Yeah, it's the same. Probably the same. You're probably close to the same as here, I guess. A little bit down, but North America, that the northern parts of the U.S. is pretty similar to parts of Scandinavia, I think.
Oh yeah, very much so. I mean, that's why most of the Midwest is very Scandinavian.
Yeah,
That's where it
a lot
migrated to.
a lot of people from Scandinavia went to the U.S. in the 1800s. So a lot of Norwegians there in your area, and Minnesota, Oregon, and yeah,
Oh, very much so.
yeah,
And
those areas.
I myself am part Swedish and Norwegian as well.
Oh yeah, wow, that's cool.
Oh yes.
Is it on your like father's or mother's side?
Oh,
Or,
it's actually on both sides.
oh,
On my dad's side, it is Swedish with my last name Runquist, and then on my
wow.
mom's side, it's both Swedish and Norwegian.
Yeah, I mean it's like Quist. That kind of thing is it's very typical like Norwegian and Swedish. So yeah,
Oh yes.
that's very cool. So then we might be relatives, and you never know.
Oh, that'd be really cool if it was true.
You never know. I mean, we have there's a program on TV over here that where a lot of Americans with the relatives in Norway get to go on this show, and they have to compete, and the winner, they have to show who's the best potential Norwegian. You know what I mean? So and then and the winner gets to visit the family and relatives, and this production company, they do a lot of research, so but it's quite cool. It's cool, like a reality TV concept, but it's actually one of those interesting ones where you actually have a good time when you watch TV, not like all the other ones these days, which more speculative ones. So it's cool to see how dedicated some of the Americans are. When they know they're from Norway, and just looking back like a couple of generations, and they find their families here. And most of them never did any research before. Actually, they did some, and their parents told them something, in the U.S. When as they grew up, and they had some photos, but they never really knew much. So then the whole story is revealed. They get to go to places to see the old farm that their relatives lived on, or lived at, and this production company is really doing a good job, and a lot of research. So it's cool to see how moved some of these people are when they really get to visit all these places that they actually belong to somehow. Yeah,
Oh, that's really
it's
cool.
very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like my kind of reality show. It's something I would be much more interested than a lot of the reality shows that are out there today.
Yeah, I mean, you should actually watch an episode or something of that, just because I'm sure you would like it. You would think that, wow, I should have been a part of that show, because if you have some connection, then I'm sure you would like to know more about it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that. Thank you for the tip on that.
Yeah, I'll try to see what I forgot the name of the show. Yeah, I'll think about it, and see if I can remember the name, or because I think it's some kind of it's a Norwegian name on it. So many shows on TV now, I can't remember, but yeah, it's probably on YouTube as well. So
Oh, very cool.
I'm sure you can find it.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you want to talk about some music then?
Yeah, I think it'd be fun for people to hear about everything that's going on with you now. Of course, coming out on June 3rd through Frontiers Music, you have a brand new covers album, Heavy Rock Radio.
Yes.
which is
Yes.
your third overall covers album. How'd you go around selecting these songs this time around?
Well, I made a list of 40, 50 songs, in the end, and I picked out 12, 15 that I would like to record all of them really, but I had to choose. I ended up with nice, I think, set of songs, and I just thought about the flow of the album, and also wanted to match the title a bit. That some of these songs, had to be, some classics, some rock classics, and then also some original choices like the Kate Bush song "Running Up That Hill," and also the song that was released on Anne Lyngstad's album, Anne from ABBA. I know there's something going on. So an album which was originally produced by Phil Collins, who also played drums on it back then. So I just always heard some of these songs in a more heavy way. The arrangements. I wanted to change the arrangements, and some of these pop songs lend themselves, naturally to heavy rock music or metal. So I guess that's what happened to those songs. I just couldn't get them out of my mind, and I always had this kind of guitar riff going, and working with my guitar player, it just evolved basically. So, but it was it's basically songs from my past, songs that I identify with when I was younger, songs that I love, and artists that I love a lot. So that's it, and it's really natural in a way. When you adapt songs to a 4 or 5 piece rock band, you don't have a lot of synthesizers or effects. It's just the challenge to make it work with guitars, bass, drums, and vocals really, and a bit more stripped down, production wise. But then that's the cool thing about it. That's how you make it sound strong and just rock out basically.
Yeah, I definitely get that vibe from it.
Yeah, I mean it's the production is pretty okay. It's pretty it's clean in a way, but still it rocks. Of course, it takes time to create the arrangements and sit down with it. But as long as you have this kind of natural inspiration when you do it, it's not that hard. And if you have an idea that you carried with you for a long time, it's even easier because just try to make that vision happen. And it's more about taking the time and effort. So that's what we did, and yeah, it came out great. I mean, some songs I'm totally happy with, but there's always a couple of songs on an album which I thought my vision was good, and I thought in the end the overall result is pretty good. But there's a couple of tracks that I'm kind of I wish could have been a bit different, but I did the best I could with it, and again, but that's also the good thing with making it happen. When you do it, you can always learn from it, and you realize which songs came out great and which songs you could have done different, or maybe you shouldn't have done them at all. You know what I mean? So that can happen, but then you have to do the best you can, and experience comes into the picture when when talking about that. So yeah, it's I think it's a good record. Also, when you did as many records as I've done, I don't know exactly how many now, but it's somewhere between 40 and 50 albums, and with various concepts, and 10, 15 of them were under the Jorn banner. So it's out of all these albums, there are only a few songs, well, a couple of albums with cover songs, but the rest would be just some bonus tracks for Japan. So all in all, I never really did too many cover songs, and that's also something that I felt I had to do at some point. So and looking at some of these songs I did as bonus tracks, or if this couple of records I did a few years ago, it's kind of it's something I really wanted to do again, and that list of 40-50 songs, these songs that didn't make it on this record. It's not because they were not good enough. It was just because I had to choose. It was really difficult to choose. So some unfinished business there, and I definitely have to do another one sometime in the future, because that list is still on my table, and it's like staring back at me and saying, "So when are you gonna focus on us?" So that's kind of the situation with that, and so many great songs in the 70s, and 60s, 70s had it's like the golden era, at least in my opinion, and I belong to that generation, so it was a very strong period. If you look at music that came from the heart, and music with feeling, music with a personal texture, and I think that's what I'm missing today, and also felt that some of these songs were so good that they deserve to be, how should I say, renewed, or new. Young people don't know all these songs, regardless of how famous the original artist is. There's always new people growing up, and they don't know everything. It's too much information going on these days, and some of the greatest songs that I remember, a 20-year-old today has to do a lot of research to discover some of these songs. So it's cool to be able to to pick out some of these tracks and make them new again somehow. So but the most important thing, I think, is not to try to change it just because you want to make it heavy or make it a metal song. Most important thing is to change it because you love the song and you want to interpret the song in an honest way, and that's what I tried to do with this record. Keeping some of the original dynamic and basic structure, not changing the song too much. The biggest changes, I guess, was to some of these songs that were not or didn't have any connection to the rock and metal scene before, like Running Up That Hill and I Know There's Something Going On, which I really changed a lot in a way, but still keeping the same structure vocally, not trying to sing the song in a more much more heavier way necessarily, just making it a male version and finding that natural dynamic when performing it. So I think without criticizing the other bands, but I think there's too many bands that desperately want to make heavy versions of pop songs with double bass drums, and everything has to be so heavy and so loud and extreme. So I think it's not really from the heart. It's just somebody trying to be clever, trying to do something to get attention. If a song was popular once, then let's be smart, let's do this ABBA song or something with the especially also these prog metal bands or power metal bands. They will they're known for doing that. So I just never found it very inspiring, or I didn't really some of these songs have a lot of class, and they really deserve to be treated with respect, and that's what I also tried to do with the songs on the Heavy Rock Radio album. So anyway, it's a good record, I think, in the end. So
Oh yeah, definitely touched on a lot of things I was gonna be asking you about in that. That's great, but yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned so much about keeping true to the original sound to it, and that's why I find the album so refreshing for the reasons that you listed about the other bands just trying to do more extreme, do faster speeds, changing the vocals completely. Whatever the case is, you're just adding your subtle touch to these classic songs and some newer songs as well, and just making it sound like your own. And I find that very refreshing these days.
Thanks, mate. Well, it's I was a bit surprised also because the feedback it has been fantastic, and usually everybody complains when you do a cover song. So, and I was thinking, okay, these songs are so good, and if I do it the way I had pictured the outcome of this album, then if it turns out that way, then it should get some attention, but usually it's the original albums that that get the attention, or but even my record company, they were skeptical in the beginning. So they said, "Oh no, Jorn covers, don't really sell that much." And then I said, "Well, come on, these are great songs. I can sing them well, and I have a great idea for arrangements, and we can really make it come out strong." So eventually, we struck a deal with it, and we decided to do it. So I'm happy we did, because it's also a way to learn. When you do this, you get some stuff out of your chest, sort of, or out of your head. It's something you carry with you for years. All these songs, and also trying to experiment with the arrangements. You also find out what really works and what doesn't work. So yeah, I'm always experimenting with certain things. I have a clear opinion, in what I want, but at the same time, I'm not really sure how the outcome will sound. So I just try to follow that vision and that idea, and I guess that's the fuel to the fire. That's what makes it worthwhile to continue in this business and keep going. So not rest on your laurels and play safe with everything. So it was a bit of a gamble to take on some of these songs, but I guess I was right about some of them, and others I was almost right about. They were, like I said before, they were good, but sometimes the original is the original, and even though you're proud of your own record, you have to sometimes realize that the original version is magic, and it's been done so well, and you realize you have to work really hard in the studio to come across as strong. Maybe you won't even make it as strong, but you do your best. And I think what we have here is some songs that really came out I would say as good as the originals, especially the ones that were not connected to the rock and metal scene from before. But then there are also other classics which I'm happy with the result, but I also expected it to be even better than the result now. So, for example, when we worked on the Queen song, Killer Queen, that was I had this idea for that, and I was convinced it was going to sound in a certain way. And eventually, when I was recording my vocals, I just realized how good Freddie Mercury's performance is. And even though I'm trying to do it in a less theatrical way, or less feminine way, if I can use that word, it's trying to make it more manly somehow, a bit more powerful, and rocking out a bit more. But the idea was good, and the result in the end is also pretty good. But the original is just so good that you could consider it an alternative version if you're tired of all the high-pitched backup vocals and the old production, which is still great. But some of these songs are also a bit outdated, not the songwriting, not the messages, lyrically, and not the performance, but the style of it. If you look at how people would play back then, for example, in the 70s, a lot of the 70s rock rock bands are a bit, outdated today, unfortunately, because I grew up with that, so I love it. So it's just that when you look at the world and, especially the rock and metal scene, the way of playing these songs, it's just too old school in a way, and if you're gonna reach out to connect with the younger generations of today, you really have to change some of these songs if they're gonna get some kind of revival. And that's also what I think is refreshing with some of these songs, that I managed to add something to the songs, and and the guitar work on the album is absolutely fantastic. Jorn Lande, guitar player, has a great talent for melody. He's like, he has one leg in the old days, and one in the modern metal scene. So you get the best of both worlds in a way. And also Francesco Jovino, the drummer, he's also one of those few ones today that play in a certain classic way. You had guys like Cozy Powell who passed away. You had John Bonham. There are some today playing great in the same style with that great group. Simon Wright, Vinny Appice, Bobby Rondinelli. So I mean, there are still drummers out there, but there's not, or there are not too many young ones coming playing in that style. So I mean, it's a different way of thinking. It's not as technical. It's more it's more like a physical thing, and less technique, I guess. So more about the expression.
Yeah.
It's more tribal. I don't know. It's just it's like they're really hitting the drums, But these modern drummers of today, they might be perfect and in a way mathematically correct with everything they do. But there's no punch, there's no groove, there's no feel. Sometimes it's good to be a bit in front or in back of the beat. All these things happens naturally with some of these old school drummers, and I miss that in the music. So, and I'm lucky to have some great players on the album. And talking about Francesco, he's one of these, a bit younger, but he's still been around long enough to to have grown up with the with the 70s and 80s, and so I'm sure he picked most of his stuff from there, and of course parts of it is natural. It's a part of your talent, something you carry with you, and you just do it automatically. And you pick up some bits and pieces from your influences, of course. So, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I've always appreciated about what you've done, especially with your solo work, is it is so much focused on the songwriting and the groove behind it, rather than showing off how many time signatures you can do, how fast you can make the song. You're just about writing a good song, a good catchy song, and that's why I'm glad that you went to the 70s for a lot of the songs that you picked out for this covers album, Heavy Rock Radio, because to me, at least from the radio rock standpoint, that was the time for the best time for the experimentation and for heavy as well when it comes to rock radio, and I feel like you nailed it when it comes to that, and that's what I've always appreciated about the solo stuff as well.
Thanks, man. I mean, I love the 70s. I mean, it's my era in a way. I grew up with that. My father's a musician as well, so he had a lot of albums. He had the right albums, in a way. I was maybe a bit younger than most of my friends when I grew up. To listen to stuff like Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, The Kinks, and yeah, those type of bands, Uriah Heep. I was only 5 when I first heard The Sweet, and I remember the single Ballroom Blitz when it came out. It was it was a big thing for me. So, and before it all started with Elvis, actually. So Elvis Presley was my big hero, and then my first kind of hard rock experience was with Brian Connolly and The Sweet. Ballroom Blitz was I really, since then I just listened to everything, and it's thanks to my father, actually. So yeah, so that's why the 70s really it's a big part of me, and not just rock music. I enjoy all kinds of music, really, and especially some of these alternative artists of the 70s. I mean, American West Coast music of the 70s was, some of these songs are really great, and and so yeah, I'm not really from the beginning. I'm not really a heavy rock singer, or I just like good songs and good music, basically, and I just ended up with heavy expression as a singer, and somehow my voice just fits in that style, and it sounds powerful when I do it, and it feels natural as well. So every time I go on stage, I just want to give it that little bit extra. So it's it's like where I'm comfortable in a way and feel at home. So
yeah.
But, yeah.
Oh, very much so. And again, just the way that your voice comes off, no matter what project you've done, you have that great sense of knowing what notes to use, how to sing it, the phrasing, lyrics, everything that you do. I mean, it definitely sounds like you got that great vibe behind it, and it's great to see that you do come from a musical background as well, from your father, and that is a great thing to be able to still be able to keep doing in 2016.
Yeah, well, I was early. I was early, so it all started quite early, and so I owe a lot to him for that, for everything, really, because he taught me a lot of things. So yeah, so that's why I'm probably in the business in the first place. So started out in like '73. So my first band was already in '77. I was only 9, but the rest of the guys were 16, 17 years old, and yeah, so that's how it all started, really.
Oh, very cool. So, what is next for you after this album?
Well, I'm playing some shows this summer with the German act Avantasia.
Oh,
and,
yes.
Yeah, so we're doing that. That concept, Eric Martin is there, and Bob Catley from Magnum is there. Michael Kiske used to be with Halloween is there. So we're a bunch of singers doing this rock opera thing together with Tobias Summit. Mm-hmm. So it's we just did a long tour, world tour for 2.5 months, and so we do the festivals this summer. And in between, I'm recording some new songs, actually, some original material. So I'm writing and recording on some new songs at the moment. There's a new Jorn album scheduled for early 2017. So there's no rest for the wicked, as they say.
As long as you're still feeling inspired by it, I mean, it sounds like you're just reaching out to all the different areas that you enjoy, whether it is Avantasia or doing these covers or going back and doing another Jorn album. I mean, I'm glad to see that versatility is still going strong.
Yeah, well, I'm lucky to make a living from something that most people would consider a hobby. So I'm kind of I consider myself blessed with that, and also when you've been around for a while, you start appreciating more. That you can actually be independent and you can make a living, from from music, and that's I'm grateful for that really, and just trying to spread my branches and keep busy really. At some point, I will probably calm down a bit and be a bit more selective with what I do, and also probably take a bit more time between each album. But I'm not there yet, and I still feel I have to, push it a bit and be productive in the next couple of years. So, but then eventually, I plan to sit back a bit more, and it's. I think it's also natural to do that, and it's also something that is needed as the years go by, and you start repeating yourself a bit. You need some more time to find inspiration to do things, and also I think people eventually, even though you still have a lot of people out there, waiting for your records to come out or for you to come out and play and tour. So it's still you can still be overexposed. So I think that's something I'm also thinking about. That you work a lot to get to a certain level in your career where you can allow yourself. And also when you a time where you can actually afford to sit back and spend a bit more time on the records and the concept and everything. So it's a combination of everything really. You just have to work hard while you still have the drive, and of course the youth. I'm never going to retire, but I think it's good for me to to become a bit more selective with time, and a couple of years from now, I'm probably gonna look at that and focus more on less projects and less stuff. And yeah, I mean we'll see. I mean you never know what life brings, right? So could. There's always people to see, people to meet, people to get in touch with, and you never know what's going to happen up around the bend, really. So, but that's what I'm thinking at the moment, and it's the right thing to do eventually. So we'll see.
Well, I'm glad that you're still feeling inspired now to keep going, and even if you do settle down in a few years or whenever it does happen, I know those albums will still feel fresh and inspired, because I know that that's what you want to do. I don't feel like you would ever want to put out an album just to put out an album. It's going to be something that you want to be proud of. So even if it's less material that comes from you, I know it's going to be great.
Oh, thanks, mate. Well, thanks for saying that. I mean, yeah, I will always try my best, and I take a lot of pride in everything I do. But this is always like a couple of songs on a record, or three that I would wish I could have worked more on, or so it's more about, or even replaced a couple of songs. So it's more about taking the extra time really to to analyze and what I've been doing really, and less pressure to finish. There's always a strict deadline with things, and especially today, as we live in a time where tempo is very high. I mean, not just in music, but in general. So we really have to deliver all the time, and we have to be more focused than ever. You can't really make a strong career anymore and live the life of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. So it's a bigger challenge, everything, and you have to really be focused and on top of things, to get things going and have a career. So I think that's what I'm concerned about, really, that we don't have time anymore. everything has to happen so fast that it sometimes can jeopardize the quality of a product, and that's what I'm feeling. I'm kind of always pulling back. I'm holding back. Always trying to keep less stressed in a way. It's yeah. So and that's also what I see, that it's necessary to be to be a bit more focused on what you do, to get the result that you really want. So yeah, and when you brainstorm too often, and you don't get to sit back and rest a bit and analyze your work, you just end up being burned out or exhausted. So that's also something to think about. Eventually, you just want to enjoy even more what you do. Even though I'm happy now when I listen to a record, and I'm happy when I see everything delivered. Master is delivered to the record company, everything worked out, and so I'm happy with that. But I also feel that I have to enjoy it more. As we get older, we really need to put our hearts into everything 100%, and it's important to find the right balance, and that's difficult today, I think, because you have to deliver so fast, and also you have to make more, you have to tour more, or you have to make more products faster, to have a good life and a good career. So I think that's what I'm kind of aiming for, to strike while the iron is hot, and then hopefully I can allow myself to take a bit more time with things.
Yeah, and it does make sense too. I mean, with culture today, I mean, with technology always getting new within every 6 months, to having to put out an album every year or every other year, just being able to make sure that people don't forget about you, that's kind of the culture that we're at right now, because everything goes by so fast. But also, as an artist, you want to make sure that you put out products that you are going to be proud of when you can go back years from now and listen to it and enjoy what you've done. And it sounds like you're reaching that approach.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's always important to get things out of your system in a way, and I think that's the case with me. I have a lot of things on my mind, and a lot of things I want to do. And when you look at your own lifeline, it's so we all have different thoughts about that. What you need to accomplish or what you have to do in your time. So I mean, in my case, it's been I've been a guy who's been measuring my timeline in a way. It's like, okay, by the time I'm 50 or 55, I want to do a certain amount of things, and I need to get those things done in order to get to the next stage in my life, and yeah, that's how I've been thinking really, and based on that, I believe I can find a better balance also personally, for myself, and I mean, I guess we never find 100% inner peace, but I'm trying to get as close to the best balance as possible. And I think the only way to do that is to get the shit done, really. Everything on your mind, all your dreams, all your ideas, try to make as many of those happen. And, based on that, you can allow yourself to move on to the next level. And, unfinished business is never a good thing. It creates bitterness and, despair sometimes. So, and also I think that the more happy you are with what you've done, the better a person you become. A better father, a better husband, a better friend. So that's my philosophy.
Wow. Very inspiring words at that.
Thanks, man. Yeah, well, I'm trying.
So, I unfortunately have not had the chance to see you perform yet. here in North America. I know you were just here a couple months back for Avantasia, and I regret not being able to see one of those shows, just due to logistics, being able to afford it in the time. But do you see yourself coming back to North America anytime soon?
Yeah, well, yeah, I hope so. I mean, it was great. I mean, LA was great. New York was great. Playing at the Philadelphia Theater on Manhattan was really good. It's not often that you have that type of music, in the center of New York, especially not, in a theater. It's usually, usually I guess you have some of these dinosaurs. If it's like a bigger gig, I guess you have these dinosaurs like Kiss or something playing in Madison Square Garden. But, most bands in metal and rock, I figured, play, some smaller clubs and stuff in New York, and it's with a few exceptions, of course, like I said, but. It's great. It was great to play such a cool venue in the heart of New York. So hope to be back soon. I'm not sure exactly when, but for sure there will be something happening in the next year or so. So.
Oh, very cool.
We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, I just starting last year, I just recently started going to Prog Power in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'd love to be able to see you on a future bill with that, because I know you've done that in the past, but I want to be able to experience that live.
Oh, that would be cool to play Prog Power again. I mean, that was a great gig. I mean, it's such a great event. It started out many years ago. I guess not with the same impact as it has now. It has become very important, I think, also for European bands to play that festival. It's like a cultural event almost. It's good. I mean, it's great that the festival is still on. So I hope to be back again, sure.
Oh, very cool. Of course, with you writing a new solo album, do you ever see yourself doing any other one-off concepts again, like Dracula?
Yeah, you never know. I mean, the problem is with those is that it takes too much time to make such an album, and it's something you have to do because you really love it. You can't do the album because you want to make the money from making the album, and of course in the long run you will make good money from a good record. That's not what I mean. I'm just saying that usually people, when you make a rock, typical, more standard rock album in a typical recipe, using a typical recipe, you kind of you don't need to spend the same amount of time on it before you can see some or harvest some fruits from it. You can finish it in a year or less than a year. You can do the album. You can go on tour and you can play. And then you can move on. But when you do an album like the Dracula Swing of Death album, it takes a few years to finish it, because usually nobody has or no one has time to, or no one can afford to spend hours every day on a record that you're gonna if you're gonna finish it in a couple of years or in a year, you'd have to work almost every day on the record, which means that would not be not be possible, I think, today. Maybe in the 70s and 80s where the business was different and stuff. So I think an album like that is more an idealistic thing that even though most things that I do are actually idealistic, but I think that's as idealistic as it gets today. When you do an album like that, it's something you do first of all because you really think it's a great thing to do and you love it. So but it takes a lot of time. You're not doing an album like that because you see a lot of money in it, or a lot of fast money in it, really. Maybe in the long run you'll see some coming, but and of course, if it's a big thing, if you make it a play, or if you tour with or some theater will make something happen. If you can make something bigger happen, bigger than the actual album, then of course, then that's a different story. Then it's also big business. But in general, most of these concept albums it takes a lot of time. I guess that's also why these prog metal bands never release an album every year. It takes 4 years or so, 3-4 years usually between every album. At least the ones that are good and always have some concept going. So yeah, but we'll see. There will be another record for sure with something. I'm not sure what it will be, but. As long as I'm there, and if I like an idea or if I'm inspired, then it could be anything. Really, I'm open.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I just wanted to say about Dracula. That album holds a lot of meaning to me because it was the album where I was actually able to get my girlfriend to discover you, and that has become one of her favorite albums. So that holds a lot of meaning to me, being able to show that side and knowing that I got my girlfriend into your music, and she's just infatuated with everything that you've done. Now,
wow,
I'm happy about that.
That's great, man. Yeah, you say hi from me.
Oh, she'll love that when she hears that.
I really appreciate it. I mean, it's a good record. I mean, it's very melodic at the same time, and it wasn't. The challenge with that record was actually to make it, make the statements, simple. To make Dracula come out with, using simple words and make it come out strong. That was the challenge, because, most bands today or people writing concepts, they're usually using a lot of alternative words, to describe something. They're not using heaven and hell or simple words. They always find some kind of alternative word. There's something from the galaxies or something to describe the devil, or it's almost like especially in prog metal, it's like they've been watching Discovery Channel or History Channel or something, and just decided to write this concept about something they watched on TV, and then there's all these words which only so somebody who studies that shit knows. So it's kind of like the challenge was to write something very simple from the heart, something that people can really relate to. How would it be to be in Dracula's shoes, for real? If you were a man with your life experience, and how would you experience that situation? So I tried to just put simple words to describe how I felt when trying to put myself in his place, really. So. Also, I watched a couple of movies. Read some parts of the book, the Bram Stoker original Dracula book, and also the Nosferatu movie with Klaus Kinski, the director Werner Herzog. It's a German movie, old movie from 1979. That's a really cool one, and we took some inspiration from that one, and also the one with Gary Oldman. Directed by Francis Ford Coppola, I think, from 92, which kind of shows some of these, the kind of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde sides, to Dracula. So, and I thought that was cool, a cool approach to kind of reflect his mind and what he's going through, getting tired of living forever, tired of the same diet, not able to love, but he still remembers how it was to be in love, and how he's kind of battling his inner demons. and I think that was the challenge, to make that come out strong and using simple words to describe it. It's a fine line between cheesy and or brilliant and not brilliant. So yeah, so that was the challenge. But in the end, it was really good. I mean, it's also about the performance. If you can really sound convincing and get the right storyteller there, then you have to find that. The second you start to construct things too much, then it gets fabricated, and people can hear that. So you just have to make it real somehow. See, you have to be that person and see everything from your own inner perspective. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Again, just a fantastic album, and it's great to be able to see those kind of concept albums from you, because you really get to start to feel the characters, just like the way that you described it. Just being able to get that much more into detail that you can't necessarily do in just one song. Being able to do a full-fledged album about this idea.
I didn't want to tell the story about Van Helsing or the real estate agent going to Transylvania, just all that stuff, which is just that's just like telling the story itself, same as the book. So I just wanted to to attack it from a different approach, or from a different side. So I think then being in his mind, sort of, instead, is kind of dealing with his demons and stuff. That was more interesting, and then we had more freedom as well. We didn't have to explain the details in every chapter, or tell the story in a way people can easily understand that. You still have these elements, like Hands of Your God, the opening track. It's obvious when if you know the original story, it's obvious that that's where he curses God, and that's where it's like the beginning of the book, or the beginning of the movies made about Dracula. That's it's obvious, and then you move on. It's obvious that the story is still linked to the original. So.
Yeah, very much so, and that's actually my girlfriend's favorite song is "Hand of Your God." So, yeah, I mean, just like from the beginning to the end, just the overall great concept, and I love seeing that side of you. And going into the last or the newest Avantasia album, where you really get to show off that dark side as well. Did any of that come from? I mean, the inspiration from doing Dracula, did any of that come through with Ghost Lights at all, or was that just a different feeling for you?
I guess there are some elements there that also I mean, there are more people involved in the Avantasia project. So when we did the Dracula, it was me and Jorn Lande, my guitar player. So it's like the two of us working together. But with Avantasia, it's also people writing for people in a way. So I mean, Tobias Summit would probably listen to some of the stuff that I've done in the past, maybe even the Dracula record, or possibly also, and also and writing stuff there, when he was working on the music, considering what would be perfect for me. So, and then in the same you have Sasha Pett, the producer, who's also the guitar player in the band. So it's various people involved in the whole process, really. That but I think everybody considered the singers. How, I mean, it's the same when you listen to Bob Catley's parts. It's obvious that the stuff that was written for him, it sounds sometimes like a Magnum album, or from like a song from a Magnum record. So it's obvious that these things are taken into consideration. So I mean, it's very natural. I mean, we all fit very well for the parts that we do and the songs that that we are part of. So, but then the thing is, there has to be more of a compromise when you do a concept like that with so many different singers, and also the changes of the music. It's a big variety, of musical changes all the time. So there are parts that don't really fit my style all the time, but I have to sing them because I'm singing together with other singers. So it's like we join together for the chorus, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's perfect for me to sing that. But I have to compromise and do my part as in this project. So, but then again, I get to shine again, maybe on other parts which are perfect for me. So
Lucifer is a great example of that.
That's a great example. That's probably the most perfect song for me on the whole new record. So I guess if you look at the overall situation, if just looking at what I do, then so. And of course, what I do on "Let the Storm Descend Upon You" is, it's also very, very natural, and the stuff, it's almost like I wrote some of it myself, because. But that's the good thing with Toby, when he thinks about a piece of music or he writes something, when he thinks about an idea, he will. I mean, he's one of those guys who's just spot on. He can so, and that's rare, because usually a song has to be changed, or I will say, oh, that doesn't fit, it's the wrong key, or it doesn't come as natural as I would want it to. So but with him and Sasha, when they work on stuff, it's just always perfect for my voice. And I guess it's just some teamwork and a recipe that works well. So yeah, it's a great album, I think, and it's something new and fresh in a way, because I like what has happened the last few years now, because it seems like people have opened up for more melodic stuff combined with more heavy, darker stuff. And there was a time when I was a bit younger where there was nothing in between. Everything related to something melodic, or that was banned somehow. That was not the right or the political correct thing to do. So I think the great thing these days is that the level of acceptance and the minds of people have opened up. Level of acceptance is much higher. I guess it's because people are more enlightened in general. Yeah. So yeah. But good, But there was a good tour, and a cool album. I guess as long as you're happy in your situation, as long as I can write my own stuff and work on my own albums, I just love to pop out and do stuff like Avantasia, because it's it's refreshing, and it's also good for everybody involved. It's good for all of us that we go out, and this usually we wouldn't even sell half as many tickets, for example, live, when we go out with our own bands. So I think it's like when we played, for example, in Europe, when we go and when you sell 4,000 or 5,000 tickets a show, for example, then it's like you maybe not even sell half if you go with your own band, sometimes. So I think this is what we all experience. Times were a bit different, 20 years ago. Or more, but today I think it's a concept like Avantasia really brings people to the shows, and you can play better venues. You can really experience something great together. And I think we all gain a lot of good things from being a part of that concept, and I think we all agree on that. So really.
Oh yeah, I mean that definitely makes sense, and I'm glad to see this project still being able to flourish as much as it is in 2016. Ghostlights is my favorite album of the year so far, and it's just great to be able to see so many of my favorite singers on one album, let alone one song, like the title track, being able to hear your part in it along with what Toby and Michael are doing in there. It's just, I just love the album from start to finish, and it's great to see that you're still a part of it after all this time.
Well, thanks, man. Yeah, it's great. I mean, I didn't have time to do when I was working on the Dracula record. And that's why I didn't do the Mystery of Time album. Because Toby asked me early, actually, but I couldn't commit to do the tour, and I was just in the middle of this. Dracula production, and so I just had to say no, and I wish I could have done that record too, but it was all if I did, there would probably be no Dracula Swing of Death album released, so so I had to make a choice, and well, I think it was good to skip that record and then go again with the Ghostlights album. So I also think it's healthy sometimes for the Avantasia concept to have some different singers and some changes. Not to have all the same people every album or every show. It's cool to wait for an album or two and then maybe go back again. So well, for now I'm there again, but you never know what's happening in the future, and I also think people like the kind of variety and to get some new people involved. Maybe when you go on tour, it's a different story. Then maybe people would love to see some of the singers that did some essential songs on the albums. But I think this concept is kind of living its own life. It's not just about me or about Michael Kiske or Eric Martin or it's not even only about Tobias Summit. It's about having a new constellation of people, I think, on every album, and bringing in some guests, and then bringing some people back together again for the tours and the live shows. So yeah, it's a cool thing.
No, very much so. Well, thank you for taking all of this time to be able to talk to me.
No problem.
I unfortunately have to start prepping for another interview. I would love to be able to keep talking for another several hours because I feel there's so much territory I'd love to be able to discuss with you.
I have another one waiting now for half an hour already
here. I am sorry about that. I didn't realize that.
So, no problem. We're fine. I'm the same. Sometimes sometimes the schedules are too tight, and I always know that when people put up like half an hour, it's never enough. It should be at least like 1 hour between 45 minutes to an hour between each interview. Because we always have a good time and we talk sometimes too much, but that's it's only a good thing, right?
Oh, very much so. But again, thank you for taking all this time and going over. And anytime that you have something new that you want to talk about, I would love to be able to sit down with you again and be able to have these great discussions like we've had today.
Yeah. We'll talk again, Josh. No problem. Say hi to your girlfriend and yeah. Was it your girlfriend or was it your wife?
My girlfriend, soon-to-be wife.
Okay, soon-to-be wife. Okay, yeah. Let's hope that's going to happen soon. Yeah.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah. All right, brother. Take care.
All right, you too.
Have
a great day.
Cheers, Josh.
Cheers.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.